And welcome back to Fanfiction Friday. We are continuing where we left off in Star Wars: The New Galaxy by Cloud411 on fanfiction.net. It's a crisp, wet autumn day for us.
Very overcast.
And I have a thing of hot coffee, so I'm in a good place.
And I have a cold coffee.
And with our hot and cold powers combined, we will be picking up with Chapter 43.
What happened last time? She killed the lady.
Evelyn got butchered. Her, weird love interest who was there for 2 chapters died.
my character.
And now Nowicki is meeting up with the leader of the Sith.
Okay, they're gonna try and get the Jedi to fight the Guardians.
Correct. And that's where we are.
That's where we are. Quick recap. That's what you missed on last time on Glee. No, I'm kidding.
They sang this time on Glee. Okay. So
anywho,
you can start it because who knows how much dialogue
who knows if I have
get.
characters. Chapter 43, The Force Army. The clanking of his metal boots echoed throughout the metal corridor. Why is he wearing metal boots?
Clank, clank.
I know, steel-toed boots are a thing, but,
he's
metal
wearing
boots.
He's wearing sheets
Are they
of metal.
tap shoes? do they have, the little metal plates on the bottom?
Oh, that'd be so funny.
His black cape billowing behind him as he picked up his pace. The Jedi had sent a message requesting a meeting of the leaders of the Sith and the Jedi. He marched down the corridor until he reached a door with a Sith symbol embedded on it. Okay, why is there just a Sith symbol on the door? And also, what is the symbol of the Sith?
I don't know.
Is that a thing that existed?
Maybe it's sand.
I don't remember that existing.
I don't know.
Anyways, the door slid open and he stepped in. The man that Nowicki saw walk into the room. Yes. His mere appearance was intimidating to a point.
Okay.
So is Nowicki in the room, and is this the random guy with the metal shoes is the man he's talking about here?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. That was worded strangely.
I think we've changed perspectives.
Yeah. He wore black armor that covered his... So it started with it's like third person omnipotent or whatever.
Yes.
But then it, focusing on the one guy, but now it's focusing on the other dude.
Yes.
Weird.
It's a weird perspective jump.
Yeah. He wore black armor that covered his entire body, and around his waist there was some form of black leather quilt tied around him. What? What?
All right.
He's wearing black armor
and a leather quilt.
Do they mean quilt, or is it kilt or something?
Around his waist,
there's a leather quilt.
A leather quilt.
Tied around it. Okay, that's gay.
That is gay.
He wore a black metallic helmet. The helmet had a red line going down the center of the face part, with a silver line going across the faceplate.
Cool.
Okay. Nowicki assumed the silver line across the faceplate was where the person's eyes were behind the mask. Good assumption.
Okay, I'd like if it was down here, close to the jawline. That's his eyes.
Yeah. He's an alien. He's got
Oh yeah, he's got the
where the brain part is huge and their face is towards the bottom, you know?
Yes.
Okay. The man also had on tight black leather gloves and had a lightsaber attached to his waist. When the man spoke, the helmet made his voice... It always says well, yeah. Okay. When the man spoke, the helmet made his voice dark and menacing, almost like a growl.
You called a meeting, the man said.
Oh, is this Silver? Why is he wearing such a stupid outfit?
Because he's in the closet.
Okay, whatever.
I guess by using a voice, I've
Were you
spoiled.
Nowicki or was I Nowicki?
You were.
Was I?
Yes.
Who's Nowicki?
Old guy. Stacy reported to him about this meeting.
Old? Oh, was this the weird Indian-y accent? Yes, with the leader of the Sith. Nowicki replied. That got really strange. That wasn't the accent.
No.
Where is he? The man tilted his helmeted head to... I thought it was an eye for a second.
His helmeted.
Helmeted head to one side for a moment before straightening it.
I am him.
What do Indian accents sound like?
I don't know.
With the leader of the Sith? It wasn't even Indian the first time. I just made up the stupid accent. And I'm like, it sounds vaguely Indian. And now I'm trying to get that accent, and it doesn't work.
Just try your best. I don't know.
The wiki asked with a tiny element of surprise in his voice.
You were expecting someone different? The man asked.
Perhaps. The wiki replied.
I am Darth Salvador, leader of the Sith Order, the man stated. Nowicki glanced at Stacy, who stood at his side for a moment before focusing his gaze back on Salvador.
Bad time to take a drink.
I know.
It's just that the line of dialogue sometimes just randomly starts halfway through the paragraph. It's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
unexpected.
Yeah.
I did not expect you to appear as you have, he said after a moment's silence.
I have undergone changes, Salvador replied. Changes that do not concern you, he added.
Why wouldn't you expect him to appear like this? This is typical Sith.
Right? This is like the Sith trademark, looking extra,
what do you
having a
expect
billowing
the leader
cape.
of the Sith to look like, if not in, like, leather and a stupid face mask?
Yeah, some form of, like, BDSM bullshit.
Solid black with, like, red accents and silver, I guess.
And silver, I guess. I don't understand the point of the silver.
Is it like in the shape of a cross on his face? Is the red going down
maybe?
vertical
I
and the
think
silver
so.
Horizontal?
I think so.
Because that's hilarious. And also Jesus.
I think so. Salvador, their salvation. This is the Jesus story as told through a Star Wars lens.
I doubt it.
Don't you remember when Mary Magdalene got butchered by Jesus when he was fighting his master, good old Joseph?
When the master be God.
Oh, you're right. Now he's got to team up with Lucifer.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Of course they don't, Nowicki replied. I've called for this meeting to talk about a possible alliance between us. There we go. There's the
There
accent.
it is. You got there.
Kind of.
Between us or our armies? Salvador asked.
Both, Nowicki answered. The Guardians have massacred many Jedis who were in a hideout. The location was leaked somehow, and all the Jedi were killed. We can no longer sit by and watch as this happens, he explained. Now is the time for the Jedi to get involved.
The Jedi and Sith have been at odds about the other's way of life as long as the text can go back, Salvador stated. Which, I'm interjecting, is a dumb thing to just hate people for, but whatever. Yeah. You would break this trend now?
Now it's kind of make me think, Romeo and Juliet. LOL, our families have been at war. So.
Two houses, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. That's all I know.
Yeah. It is not a trend, Nowicki shot back. It is history of hatred and carnage that needs to end if we are to truly exist in this world. Peace is the only way to achieve that.
Yes, peace.
Balance,
Salvador replied, folding his arms behind his back. The Guardians seem to think that peace is the only way as well, by killing us all.
That's not peace. We're nothing like the Guardians, Nowicki shot back in a harsh
genocide.
voice. The peace we envision does not involve killing. That was a different accent.
But you do nothing to stop those who want to attain peace by slaughtering others? Salvador asked. You're contradicting yourself, old man. Nowicki was silent, staring at the helmet, wondering what this Sith Lord who dared to challenge his point of view looks like.
He's not trying to slaughter others. He's talking about fighting back.
Yeah.
Self-defense is not slaughtering other people.
Yeah, that's self-defense. It's different.
Yeah, okay. That's Salvador still.
Oh, jeez. You claim to be warriors of peace, yet when one such as the Guardians try to destroy that peace with murder, you Sith idle... No, that's not. What? Oh, you sit, but they accidentally put Sith. You sit idly by and watch as it happens. Your notion of justice is weak and will only cause us all to be killed, Salvador explained, pointing a leather-gloved finger at Nowicki. Your reluctance to get involved until this point has caused all the deaths with the Force-sensitive humans. Their deaths rest on your conscience, no one else's, he added. Nowicki could feel his irritation at the Sith Lord growing.
Yeah, fuck you.
The Sith Lord who wore a black metal suit and wore a helmet and whose voice sounds more like a growl than a human's voice was stating everything that Nowicki was starting to think himself.
So now it's like you're right, but I'm mad about it.
Shit, my enemy's right about
What's that stupid made-up term from Tumblr? Fuckor or whatever?
What?
Where it's like... You've never seen that one post where it's like when someone makes an assumption about you and they're right, but you're angry that they are correct.
No.
It's like a combination of the word fuck and rancor or whatever.
That's weird.
I don't know, maybe.
If we are to win this war, Salvador continued, it must be swift, powerful, and cunning. We cannot let them force us into doing something that will or could hurt us in the long or short run. We need to be calculated and precise in our attacks.
No shit.
He explained. And if you are truly to ask the Sith to form an alliance with you, Jedi, then you must throw aside your notion of killing as a last resort, he added. That will only get both sides killed.
Maybe that's good. Good, maybe they both should die.
Yeah, what if the Guardians are right, Salvador?
The Jedi are not murderers, Nowiki shot back.
Then you will be killed, Salvador replied calmly. They will fight to kill you while you fight to injure them.
He is kind of right
Those
about
you
this.
injure will come back to kill you again and again until you kill them or they kill you, he explained. If we form this alliance and you Jedi still refuse to kill, then you will only be dragging both the Jedi and the Sith to their destruction. Nowiki stood on the opposite side of the table that separated him from the Sith Lord, contemplating his words. If you are serious about ending this war and keeping our kind alive, throw aside your notion of justice and mercy. Our enemies will not share your compassion, Salvador said, placing his hands on his hips. Oh, he's so flaming, and I love him.
Does he have a cape building in the wind?
He did, and his like Jesus cross mask and like tight leather.
Does he have a
quilt.
cape in this outfit? I know he had a quilt.
It does, because it mentioned it billowing behind him as he walked.
Oh.
It's a power move. If you swear to be serious
the guy
about...
who was walking
yes.
the guy who was walking in the beginning was Nowiki.
No.
Yes?
No.
Wasn't it?
Salvador's wearing the metal boots and the leather and the quilt.
Are you...
They were describing Salvador as Salvador. Like, they were describing it from his perspective, and then they were describing him from Nowiki's perspective.
Yes, okay.
Like, randomly.
I thought it was the other way around, that Nowiki was the one in the room, and then, but...
Yeah, Nowiki was already in the room.
I mean...
For some reason.
Yeah, I remember that now, but I thought Salvador was in the room. And
Yeah,
Nowiki was the one who came in, but then I was like, oh wait, no, I remember Nowiki... commenting on the appearance of the guy who walked in the room. So yeah, I see. Never mind. Anyways,
if you swear to be serious about this alliance and truly wish for the Force to live on, then until the Guardians are destroyed, I will accept your request, he added. I will return in 20 minutes for your answer.
What?
Salvador walked out of the room, his metal boots clanking against the metal floor and his black cape flowing behind him.
This answers our question.
The Sith who were in the room followed Salvador out of the room.
There were other people in the room?
I guess. Leaving Nowiki and Stacy alone.
Wait, but if Nowiki was in the room and Salvador walked into the room alone, were the Sith just in the room with Nowiki?
Yeah, I think
and Stacy?
I think they were in like a meeting council type situation, and Salvador was making his dramatic entrance.
After Nowiki is... So Nowiki and Stacy, as far as Nowiki knows, are like the only people Jedi in the room, and then there was a bunch of Sith that were already there,
Yes.
and then... That seems like a stupid idea. They could have just killed you.
I know. They were trusting, and it paid off. Look at that. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Master! Stacy said after a long silence.
Stacy.
Nowiki seemed to be in a state of very deep thought. What are we going to do? She asked. Nowiki sat down in a metal chair
Why
that
is everything
next
metal?
to him and sighed.
The metal floor, the metal chair, the metal boots.
The Sith are metal. That's their element.
I guess.
He placed his hand over his face and spread out his legs to relax.
Man spreading.
Good lord.
I didn't imagine it would go like this, he muttered.
What do you mean? She asked, standing in front of him.
The Sith Lord, Dark Salvador, he began. He's cunning and very bright. He pointed out everything that I have come to suspect about the Jedi, he went on. If we do ally ourselves to the Sith, we will have to fight to kill from now on and not hinder and subdue, he added.
Maybe that's the right course, Stacy replied slowly. Nowiki removed his hand from his face and stared at her.
So he's just like
man spreading, yeah.
With his hand.
He's depressed.
This is still Stacy.
Oh my god.
Like, it sometimes
just...
it sometimes just goes to another paragraph after, like, a random sentence, even though the same person keeps talking.
I gotcha. The Guardians have only been coming after us because they know we fight to subdue, not kill. They know that we most likely will leave their soldiers alive. Shit. While they That is why the Guardians have only been focusing on us Jedi, she explained. I just want to get through her line. I hate the Sith, but maybe they were right this time.
Stacy, you're trying to... This is a stupid line. Saying the Sith mean business and they will not be pushed around. That's not the reason you kill. You fight to kill. I'm gonna fight to kill them back because I mean business.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not what the Jedi would do. You're trying to convince the Jedi here. You're like, hey, to protect people or something. Like, no, we need to show them we mean business.
Yeah.
It won't be pushed around. It's like, no. That's not the reason they would fight.
Nowicki was silent.
Great.
Unlike past acts, this time the Sith are fighting not only for themselves, but for all Force-sensitive humans.
This is a good
They are killing the Guardians to save Force humans. Maybe even to make sure we survive, she stated.
That's a better point.
That is a better point.
Yeah. Although, it's not to make sure you survive, it's to make sure they survive, pretty much, but also
yes, right.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend, kind of.
Yes.
My reluctant ally.
Yes. That saying is very true.
You give them too much credit, he replied. They fight for themselves and no other. Yay. But I will admit that this war is being fought for a reason that I can relate to. This accent. The devil he was worldwide now. I'm planning an extermination. I can feel it.
Ooh,
the Sith and the Jedi must
good.
band together to fight this extermination. Even if it means that for now we abandon our old ways of fighting to subdue, he explained.
That's what I think, she replied. The door slid open and Salvador stalked
It's been
in
20
and
minutes.
stopped on the other side of the table with his two Sids at his side.
So now there's two of them.
Your decision, he
It has
demanded.
not been 20 minutes.
Nowicki stood up and walked across the table to face Salvador. The two Sids that had walked in with Salvador moved to block his path, but quickly retreated at the wave of Salvador's gloved hand. Nowicki stood several feet from Salvador's helmeted face and suited body. He held out his hand.
Until this crisis is over, we would accept your terms, he said slowly. Salvador did not put his hand out to finalize the deal.
There is one more thing, he said after a moment. Nowicki seemed irritated.
What is it? He demanded irritably. Okay.
He seems irritated. What is it? He said irritably, with an irritated expression on his face. The Jedi will report to me,
Okay,
Salvador stated. Clearly your leadership has caused several hundred of your own to be massacred by the Guardians. I will not let that failure wash over the Sith or push the Sith towards the same fate, he explained. Nowicki pulled his hand away.
Give the Jedi over to you? He asked.
It is the only way to ensure a victory for both sides.
You want me to give my Jedi over so they can become Siths? Nowicki asked, outraged.
They would still be Jedis, but would report to me, he corrected him. They will not be subjected to the teachings of the dark side or forced to be trained as such. They will merely report to me and follow my orders, he added. Nowicki's face clearly showed his anger at this sudden demand. Give his Jedi to a Dark Lord of the Sith? What kind of Jedi Master would he be to do such a thing? You would be showing your commitment to the cause, Salvador added. You would be showing that you value the survival of the Force over everything else, a value that I can respect.
Respect coming from a Sith Lord means nothing to me, Nowicki replied. Respect for my fellow Jedi is what matters to me.
There is no respect when there is no life, Jedi, Salvador replied. If you all die because you refuse to accept the truth that your leadership has not worked, then where is that respect you want from your fellow Jedi? He asked. If they all die because you are in denial, how can they respect you? Nowicki gritted his teeth inside his closed mouth. No matter how much his mind fought it, his heart knew that the Sith Lord spoke the truth.
No.
Nowicki had been leader of the Jedi for over 10 years, and all that has happened was the Guardians had been killing them, with him doing nothing.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Now he finally had a chance to make all those deaths and sacrifices worth something. But he hesitates. After several minutes of silence, Nowicki holds out his hand again.
This is... No. Giving your forces over to him doesn't show any of this.
Look.
It's not a smart decision.
He's not a bright man.
Be like co-leaders.
Yeah, that's the better way to do it. You lead the Sith and I'll lead the Jedi, then we work together. Don't
Like,
give in to
hey,
the dark sides. God.
Let me lead because you're not good at leading. It's like, maybe that's true, but that doesn't mean you're any better.
Right? Don't be an idiot, but like, whatever.
It's like, we have no idea how you're leading. You've been a leader for like 2 minutes.
Right? Again.
You have no like proof that you're a better leader to back up your claims that you'd be the better choice as a leader.
I know.
Of their allied forces.
I know.
Whatever. I accept, he muttered in a very low voice. Salvador gripped Nowiki's fleshy hand with his leather-gloved hand. Fleshy is such a weird word.
So gross.
Bear would have been better. Unless he's like, even fleshy makes me think that he's fat. And that's kind of weird.
Ugh. Maybe.
Like, it's not what he looks like.
Right.
In what I've been thinking.
Right. It's just a weird word. Then it is done, he said. Your Jedi will report to me from now on, and you will be placed in second command of this combined army.
So then when they report to him, then he reports to you?
I don't know.
Isn't that how stuff like that works?
I don't know.
The chain of command. Everyone reports to the person above them.
I don't know. I didn't write this.
So everyone's just reporting directly to Salvador?
Yes, everybody's the second in command. That's the secret.
Right, Noki replied, pulling his hand away and staring at the floor.
The new army shall be called the Force Army, Salvador stated.
Title drop of the chapter.
Oh, no. Alright, you turn.
Chapter 44. Chaos.
Oh.
Salvador marched out of the room and down the corridor. Why is he marching everywhere? Leaving
He's
the
a leader
Jedi and
now.
Stacy alone, so the Sith are following him? Because there were 2 of them.
I guess, yeah.
She had done well, better than he had expected. She had led the Guardians to the Jedi hideout, forced the Jedi to meet with the Sith, then added onto his words and convinced them to join with the Sith. Also, they literally just, the leader decided, but none of the Jedi agreed to do this.
I know. I guess they're all just going to follow
They're all
his-
just going to follow him
yeah.
and be like, no, fuck this, I'm leaving, bye.
Yeah, no, they're going to be like, nope, this leader guy knows what's best.
Okay,
We're doing his commands.
Join with the Sith. She was indeed a rare breed of woman.
Don't talk about your sister that way.
Yeah. He made his way to the main control room for the compound they were in. The control room was a massive room with computers everywhere and technology that seemed more advanced than any other.
Cool.
Okay. Didn't really seem... I mean, I guess some of the stuff that their technology was more advanced, but also at times it was like, okay, you're... No.
Yeah.
He stood on a balcony overlooking the... They don't have cars.
Right. Right.
They run everywhere.
Well, yeah, that's what Jedi do.
But they have healing chambers and
Yeah.
force fields or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But no cars.
Mm-hmm. Where was I?
He stood on a balcony overlooking.
There we go. He stood on a balcony overlooking the entire room and all those in it. He placed his hands on his hips. Why is he standing with his hands on his hips?
Yeah,
Usually when
it's
someone's
his
like
thing.
on a balcony overlooking, people are like leaning against the balcony with their arms crossed, like the railing with their arms crossed.
Well,
or
now his hands are on his hips.
arms
Lindsay.
braced or something, but whatever.
That's what he's doing. His hands are on his hips.
Uh-huh. He placed his hands on his hips and stared through his helmet at them all. With the Jedi joining their army and the Jedi reporting to him, he could not enact his plans. This is your plan!
What? Yeah, I was like, is this not...
They
maybe
mean
even now.
now. Yeah, he can now enact his plans. He now had control of both armies, the Jedi and the Sith. Yes, you just said that.
Yep.
However, the Jedi would be hard to control at first. The rest of the Jedi will be against the idea of joining the Sith and taking orders from one major league. Whatever. But Salvador was confident that he could handle those people and keep the Jedi doing what he wanted so they would not interfere with his plans. A man wearing a military-style suit walked up to the side of Salvador and bowed slightly.
This is you. I'm giving you this. You're this.
Okay, I don't know.
Whoever this man is.
Voices. Oh, it's Salvador. The man...
Skip the pleasantries, Commander, Salvador snapped. What's the progress?
We are making great progress, the commander replied. Throughout the past 80 years, Lord Storm had us working on something almost exactly similar to the project you have instated. Okay. The commander explained. We have already launched several test ships into space. What? Spaceships.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in Star Wars, yeah, they've got a bunch of spaceships, but
Now they're reaching spaceship time.
but this is present time.
Yeah. But now they're doing spaceships.
So is this the origin story of, like...
Oh my god, what?
making it into space.
Maybe it is.
That's hilarious.
Oh my god, maybe it is.
That'd be hilarious.
The results, Salvador demanded.
Oh, God. Very good. Near perfect, the commander answered. We are ready to send a bigger test ship up into space.
The ability to fly through space and have a massive warships over the planet will give us a great advantage over the normal humans, Salvador stated.
Yeah, you could just bomb everything.
I can sense that they are attempting the same thing we are. Make sure we are the first and only ones with a weapon over this planet, Commander, he demanded.
Also, why is their first thought, hey, we're fighting against people, let's build giant spaceships, and clearly they have the same idea to also build giant spaceships.
It's a convenience of plot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, whatever. Yes, my lord, the commander replied, walking down the balcony to the sea of computers and screens.
We have to be fast, precise, and secret about this, he whispered to himself. We will win this war. I will see to it. Reports of human kills by Force humans were beginning to spread. Several murders had been caught on film and photos. The people of the world were beginning to be thrown into panic. These freaks were killing all the humans, which meant the humans needed to kill the freaks first.
Great.
The President of the United States had made a State of the Union address several days ago regarding this phenomenon. He urged the human public to remain calm, and that all that could be done about the matter was indeed being done. He also spoke directly to the freaks. He did not call them that. He called them special humans. Okay. He pleaded for them to meet with the leaders of the world to negotiate a way out of this that would not involve more innocent deaths. He got a response in an increased number of killings. The leaders of the world had now declared war on the Force humans. The Guardians had supplied them with the devices they used to locate humans attuned with the Force. The countries of the world had already started to take Force-attuned humans into custody and either throw them in work camps or kill them.
Great.
It was a genocide that was beginning to spread around the world like a wildfire on dry grass.
So do they have a way of containing these Force humans?
I don't know.
Because can't they just, like, Jedi
use
mind
the
trick
Force? Yeah.
them? And also, what was I gonna say?
The only witches killed in the Salem witch trials were non-witches because real witches would use magic to get out of that.
I remember now. Like, can you really declare war on a group of people that are literally just random groups of people throughout every country?
Yes. Yes, you can, because the United States declared war on terrorism.
I guess. That's also a stupid thing, though.
I agree. We're going to perpetually, for the rest of eternity, be in a war, because you can't...
You can only really declare war against, like, another country.
Yeah. So this is their war on terror.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Yeah. So, it's possible. It's been done in our real history.
True. But that's stupid.
I agree, but...
Just thinking about that.
This is what we're doing. The United States had waited as long as it could for a peaceful solution. But when it became apparent that one would not come, they too started to round up everyone who were attuned to the Force. You were the first people
to do this. You initiated the meeting between the United Nations or whatever. We waited as long as possible for a peaceful solution after
Is this not exactly what the United States is like?
So
this country is... there's a lot of good things.
This country is stood idly by long enough. We're going to make...
This country has a lot of things I love, but some of the things we do are really funny when you think about it. Like, oh man, we waited our 3 hours. It's war. We're going to war. It's like, okay.
We waited as long as we could, even though we were the ones who initiate this war.
Oh man, I love this.
Really makes you think about our country.
the people they rounded up were not trained to use their ability and did not know they were attuned to the Force until they were pulled away from their families.
Then how do you find them?
They have the little beepy devices.
Do they?
Yeah, that's how they found Mark Jacobs, whatever this guy's name was, Mike Myers.
Wasn't that the Guardians though?
The Guardians gave them the tech to do this.
I guess.
The Guardians had returned to the surface and resumed their hunting and execution of all Force-attuned humans they could find, men, women, and children. The world was being thrown into a state of chaos, normal humans petrified about what the Force humans were going to do to them.
Oh,
and
I didn't hear you read that
outraged
line.
at the way that they were being treated, like vermin, like plague that needed to be stopped before it spread. The people of the world had basically declared war on themselves.
Nice. That's the end of the chapter?
That's the end of that chapter.
Interesting ending line.
Oh, we're on, how many are there? 58?
That was actually kind of just like a fake dramatic ending line there.
That was kind of like...
Like, we've had some decent cliffhangers when we've ended.
Oh, look. Oh, Lindsay, we're doing another time hop.
Oh, great.
Season 3.
Yep.
Mini season 3.
Yep. Am I reading?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I read most of the last chapter, so...
Chapter 45. The future. We're actually getting close-ish to the end.
We are.
13 chapters ago. It was 58, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 4 years have passed since the Force Army was created and the world waged war against them. In the 4 years since the start of the Force War, the world had changed dramatically. Technology took major leaps, and both sides of the struggle grew more powerful. Yeah, that's what happens in 4 years.
Yes.
Technology is increasing at a huge rate.
Yes.
The Force Army had beaten the World Army in developing the first battleship that could fly through the sky and float in one place. That advantage gave the Force Army a great push towards their victory. However, the World Army had quickly caught up to them. So is the world united against the Force Army?
Yes.
Wow, finally the world has come together to fight for one cause.
The genocide of the Force.
The entire world. Every country.
We've put aside our argues over socialism and dictatorships and religion. We are all united in our wanting to kill Jedi and Sith Lords.
Great. That's realistic. However, the World Army had quickly caught up to them, creating a massive ship that was at least 50 miles long and 30 miles wide. That's a leap. Technology that seemed science fiction had become real. Technology the world never saw possible was the very technology destroying it.
So these are their nuclear weapons.
Yep.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. The once beautiful world of Earth was now torn apart by war and destruction. Cities that once held such beauty and grace were now either rubble or overrun with military forces. Yeah, that's why Earth isn't ever mentioned in Star Wars, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yay, we destroy it.
Of course we do.
The flame that had started in New York City had spread throughout the world. Why is it always New York?
Because that's where the story began.
I know, but
also New York is... New York is just such a, it's such a huge city.
I know.
New York has over 1 million people in one city.
I know, you're being real, but I'm trying to be like, oh, hey, the Twin Towers, hey,
yeah,
this thing.
Yeah.
It's always New York.
Well, maybe this was influenced by that.
Possibly.
I mean...
What year was this written? 2014?
2018. 2008, sorry. 2008 was only 7 years after.
Yeah.
So it's, possible that it was still fresh in the mind.
Anywho, the flame that had started in New York City had spread throughout the world, causing it to become dark and ugly. Aboard the massive battleship Goliath, technicians for the Force Army worked at the computer on the control bridge, keeping the battleship in the air and the engines working. The sound of clanking footsteps made the soldiers go stiff and work harder.
Ooh.
Darth Salvador marched across the walkway of the control bridge and stopped the massive glass wall that allowed him to see the outside. His black armor and helmet glinted in the sunlight beaming through the glass. The Force Army had made great progress in the past 4 years. They've secured many sections of the world that the World Army could not hold on to. They controlled over half of Europe and nearly half of the United States.
Oh. Which halves?
Yeah. We're talking north or south.
And or east,
or
west.
east or west.
Are we talking towards the Russia side of Europe or towards the
center,
ocean?
Midwest and Texas?
Maybe they own the two parts, but they own the Atlantic Ocean and the land.
The
past
coast
that.
would be hard to beat if you're on the inside. Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah. And which half of Europe too?
I'm assuming it's just a big chunk with the ocean in between.
From the coast or the Russian side?
I'm assuming coast.
Probably.
Well, I guess it could be Russian side, but that'd be Asia, half of Asia then, and half of America.
Half of Europe by Russia, I mean.
I don't know.
Or
They're not being very specific, and now I think we're overthinking it.
The World Army still hadn't held most of the space, though. They had more ground and more area to move, and like 7 billion times the
people. Yeah.
Okay, not 7 billion, because that'd be like one person against them all, but
yeah.
They had more ground and more area to move. At the moment, the war was beginning to tip in the World Army's favor. And what about the civilians? Are they just
I think they're just suffering.
Chilling out? But Salvador was confident that the dark side would win and preserve the forest. The dark side? I thought you were the Jedis and the Sith.
Oh, man.
Now you're just the dark side.
Yeah, no, now he's just the dark side.
As Salvador stood in front of the glass wall. It's a window. It's not a glass wall. His hands folded behind his back. He could feel something. Or was it a glass wall?
It's a glass wall of... I don't know.
Was he looking over the ship or over...
He's looking outside of the ship.
So then it's a window.
Yes.
A faint presence that felt like it was getting ready for something. He could feel the dark side of the forest concentrating on a certain point. But no... And what happened to... God, what's her name? Crystal or whatever. She's just been chilling.
She's just gone for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
We thought her story had a point, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Did it take her 4 years to find Salvador in his giant floating warship?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Did she not join him with the Jedi? Or did she join him with the Jedi? And then did he
They might never bring her back.
Did he just give
Lindsay.
up on his ritual?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know you don't know. These are just questions for the for the world.
We will find out.
Hopefully. 1 point of the person. Okay. Concentrating on a certain point, but no matter how hard he focused, he could not find this point, or the person or thing that was causing it to be focused there. But it's focused, you should be able to find it.
Right?
This troubled him. As it stood, Salvador was the most powerful Sith Lord. If there was one out there with equal or greater power in the dark side than him, he needed to find this person and kill them. As Salvador continued to stand there, the massive battleship was suddenly rocked and jerked to one side. Salvador turned to the soldiers operating the computers.
Oh,
we're under attack, a soldier blurted out. A laser hit on our right sensor ray.
Turrets on the hull are returning fire to the enemy ship. Another soldier stated, enemy vessel seems to be a Class 3 battle cruiser.
Class 3.
Salvador stalked back across the control bridge and walked into the corridor of the ship. He continued to walk down the hall and several other halls as the ship continued to rock and jerk as explosions hit it. He made his way to a circular pad that was isolated in a corner of a hall and stepped on it. The moment both feet touched the metal pad, the pad shot up towards the ceiling of the ship.
That sounds like a terrible idea. The moment both feet...
A hole...
Can it wait till you at least get to like the center and push a button?
A hole opened in the ceiling and the circular pad fit perfectly in the new opening.
Just imagine if the hole didn't open.
Yeah, I know. One malfunction, this will kill you.
Slammed against the ceiling.
Salvador stepped off the pad and onto the outer hull of his ship. They were slowly flying over a massive city, and he could see the World Army cruiser that was hammering his ship with laser fire. He took several steps forward, then gathered up as much of the dark side as was necessary for what he was about to do. It took several seconds for him to gather up all the force he needed.
Wait, one sec. He's on the outside of the ship now.
Yes.
So that hole just opened up to like the outer.
Yes.
How low are you flying?
These aren't in space. They're flying they're probably like airplane height maybe.
But still.
I don't know.
Air.
He's fine. They might actually just be slightly above buildings.
I guess.
Because if they're seeing the massive city, I imagine.
But to be able to see, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt.
I was imagining them being in the atmosphere at least.
No.
Or not quite that atmosphere,
Oh, no.
but higher up.
I think they're imposingly low. Then he thrust out his arms and pointed his opened palms at the cruiser miles ahead of him. He reached out with the force and tightly gripped the ship in its grip. He pushed and pulled with the force on the ship. The enemy ship began to angle downwards toward the ground. The tip of the ship now angling towards the ground. It began to slowly perform a nosedive at the surface. The laser barrage coming from the enemy cruiser had stopped. He could feel the fear of those aboard, their confusion, fear, and panic.
He could literally
had no
just
clue what was happening.
use the force to shove the entire ship into a crash.
Yes.
Then how are they not winning?
I'm imagining this makes him tired, I hope.
I guess, but they can't make that many ships. Just go find one to force it in the ground, wait like a week.
Yeah, I know. Lindsay.
How is it working?
Plot holes. Plot holes.
Okay.
Salvador used their fear to fuel his control over the dark side and force the ship down further. He would show them that he was never to be underestimated again. He continued to push the ship down further towards the surface in a nosedive until the nose of the ship crashed into the ground. He gave one final massive push and shoved it deeper in the ground.
Okay.
The enemy ship exploded from the tip of its nose all the way to the back of its engines, each section blowing up as the impact increased. It only took seconds before the whole ship was engulfed in a massive flame explosion. Satisfied, Salvador turned around and walked back to the circular pad that sucked him back into the ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's apparently fine.
Yeah, he's great. Here we go.
Great.
One more chapter.
Cool. I'll read. Chapter 46. Battle. Okay, that was... Okay.
Okay.
Rick stood in front of a bookshelf in his personal study, staring at the many books that occupied the shelf. After several seconds of staring at the shelf, he walked over and sat down at a table in the middle of the room, facing the shelf. No,
of course.
It'd be funny. The table was piled with status reports pertaining to the war and progress reports on current projects that the World Army is working on. He started to flip through the reports, scanning for anything useful or out of the ordinary. Also, one thing, Salvador's thing was like, hey, we need to end this war quickly. It's been 4 years.
Right.
Your plan is not going well.
Right.
He took in every letter and every word of every page he flipped through. He had a photographic memory, which served him very well through his campaign as the leader of the Guardians and the main force inside the world's army. Yeah, no.
Whatever.
Why are you bringing this up now, 4 years later?
Whatever, because they needed to define his ability to remember everything.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
His eyes glanced a folder next to the report he was flipping through. Classified was stamped on front of the folder. In this time, classified folders were not uncommon in the military. Obviously, they're not uncommon now.
Right?
Everything's classified.
Jesus.
But he rarely sees them, and when he does, it usually means it is something special. He pushed the report he was reading aside and grabbed the folder and flipped it open. Wouldn't that be like on the top of your pile?
Right, usually put the important thing
be like,
up
hey,
first.
I just randomly noticed I have a classified folder. Wow. I didn't know this was here.
I should probably look through this.
They would have given it to you and be like, hey, this is classified. Read it over and report back or something.
Right?
Well, whatever. His eyes grew big and wide as he started to read the contents of the folder. He closed the folder and placed it on the table. A knock came at the door.
Enter, he called. A young man walked in, dressed in a brown robe that was cut short at the waist and several strings of cloth hung from his arm. The boy looked to be no more than 19 years old. Anakin?
Who is...
He walked to the other side of the table and got down on one knee.
Whatever happened to that one assassin dude from...
I don't know.
I gave him that girl voice.
You are now a 19-year-old boy.
Great. Should he just get the same voice? I don't know.
Oh.
What should he sound like?
He's a 19-year-old boy.
What does this sound like? No, that's not good enough.
That makes him sound Sithy.
And I just scraped my glasses on it and it made like a record scratch.
I heard that. I was like, wow. Record scratch.
Yeah. You were describing him still.
Yeah, when he got down on one knee.
Did you say that?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I know where it is, but I don't know his voice.
Yeah.
I could sense you needed me, he said, bowing his head.
Your senses are getting sharper.
Give him the girl voice.
He replied, yes, I do need you. Oh, I think this is the guy.
Then he was like 15 last time.
Yeah, I guess he was a child.
Great.
Cool.
What did this girl voice sound like, though? I feel like it was what I was trying to sound like.
Super up there.
Oh, yeah. What is that bidding, my master? The boy asked.
I need you to go to the location in this file. He threw the classified file at the boy's feet. That's such a movie trope.
Drawing file.
Classified clearly shows to the camera. Kill everyone there. Find out how many other locations have backups to the research and destroy the originals and hunt down the backups, he ordered. The humans must not be allowed to successfully create the sample. The boy reached forward and grabbed the file.
Yes, master, he replied, standing up and walking back through the door. He's just like here for like 2 seconds, and then he's gone, and then he's back for another 2 seconds, and then he's gone. The air was thick with the coming battle. The Force Army and the World's Army were about to have a battle for Las Vegas. Isn't that
so?
a
It's the
movie?
East Coast, I guess.
something on Las Vegas. There's like a bunch of movies.
Yeah, well, they did nuclear
Or was
testing
it
in the
Angeles?
desert around there.
Or was it Los Angeles?
Probably
I'm thinking of
both.
About the aliens.
I don't remember.
Anyways, it held a good strategic advantage over the surrounding area that neither side could see themselves losing.
It's a desert, but okay.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Okay.
The cities in that area are like miles apart.
Like Australia, basically.
Yeah. But not as bad. Australia's
Right.
terrible.
From what I've heard, Australia is bad.
Takes like 40 hours to drive across the country.
No, I believe that's
Which
a
is
big
like
country.
Same here. Anyways, the Force Army. Blah, blah, blah. During the past 4 years, technology took such a leap that guns no longer fired metal bullets, but beams of condensed energy beams. Lasers. But beams of condensed energy beams.
Yep.
Lasers. Could you have just said lasers?
They could have just said lasers, but it's fine. They're assuming we don't know what a laser is.
Yeah. Stacy stood behind a Beyond, taking up a recon position. I don't know what they mean.
I am
trying to figure out what they mean, but I don't know. The Guardians and the World's Army only had one entrance into the city that would give them any advantage. That was the west entrance. What? The one entrance into Las Vegas. The
west entrance. Oh my god, okay.
No. You're
Pro tip, if you're gonna write about
spaceships flying over them, you can enter from any side.
I'm done. I'm done arguing.
No side would
The
give you
west
any
entrance.
strategic advantage.
No, the west entrance is the strategic entrance. I've accepted that
Okay.
as fact.
Whatever. I guess from the ground, but also no. She, along with several other soldiers of the Force Army, stood ready to engage at the first sign of the enemy presence. If you have these ships, you're not going to be fighting on the ground, is the thing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You can go be these two soldiers.
The advanced technology is helping us, but at the same time, it was starting to kick our asses, one of them commented. No arguments there! Another replied.
Your husband and husband too are done talking! I think that they are coming!
Are they actually husbands,
Stacey
though, is
said.
the question.
That's either their attempted diversity or like a homophobic joke slightly. Oh man, if you two husbands quit
Yeah.
lezzing out over there
Quit lezzing around.
and get to the point. You're getting chubby, but I am still your hubby. Several outlines started to form in the distance. As the outlines... Wait, who is attacking? Do the Force people... Does the world hold Las Vegas? Or do the Jedi hold Las Vegas?
I don't know that either of them hold Las Vegas. They're just fighting over it right now.
Like, okay, they're...
It just says it's a battle for Las Vegas, so nobody's in there right now. I guess.
They only had one entrance into the city that would give them any advantage. So are they entering into that city? I'm assuming they're attacking.
But it says the Guardians and World's Army only had one entrance that would give them an advantage.
Right, which means maybe they're attacking the city from the west, and it's the Sith who hold the city and are in a defensive position.
Yes.
Is that what this is?
Yes.
Okay, got it. As the outlines got closer and
I forgot
clearer...
the Guardians of the World Army are the same people.
Yeah. And as the outlines got closer and clearer, it became clear what they were. Several platoons of soldiers, 6 tanks, and 4 heavy gun-mounted battery train.
As the outlines got closer and clearer, it became clear.
A massive metallic platform that held a massive rifle-like gun that could blast through any metal surface, tearing it to shreds on impact.
Then what's the point of the tanks if you've got...
Tanks are hard for foot soldiers to beat.
True.
One of the 4 heavy guns fired a shot that flashed into the city and decimated an entire building. The battle had begun.
Okay.
Stacy and her companions activated their lightsabers and prepared for the battle. The soldiers that were on foot unleashed a massive barrage of lasers into the city, which a fair amount were sent back by the lightsabers of the Force Army.
Batting practice.
The sound of a loud...
And also, why are you just shooting at the city in general? Don't you shoot at the people? Like, get closer.
Yeah, I don't... I'm confused.
What type of fuel are they using for these lasers?
What I need to do is, for this to make any sense, I'm gonna have to map this out at my free time and, like, get a map of Las Vegas and, like, figure out where they are and how they could strategically be placed in the city and, like, what's ruins by this point.
Everything's ruins. They just destroyed a building with a
Like,
laser.
what do I do here? Oh god, this is stressful. The sound of a loud engine brought Stacy's attention to the sky where several military fighter jets swooped over the city, unleashing a wave of bullet and lasers upon the city. Were they trying to capture or destroy the city? Stacy threw out her left hand and called upon the Force. Using the Force, she threw one of the fighter jets into the other, sending them both falling downward in a blazing inferno. She turned around and almost had her head taken off by a shell from one of the heavy-mounted rifles. The round whizzed by her head, brushing her hair as it went.
This is just such a weird combination of, like, things we have now and
like, future things.
If the technology has advanced as far as they're saying, they wouldn't have the same things that we have.
Right. Unless it's so expensive to produce, they only have
guess.
few of the cool things, which I could buy. But they're still in a transitory period.
I guess.
She was momentarily frozen in shock at the near-fatal encounter. I'm going to imagine...
But the fighter jets have lasers now.
I'm
so
assuming...
you have to rebuild them, basically.
So in my head, the brushing her hair as it went line means that she's wearing, like, a ponytail that, like, got cut off in an anime way, and now she's got a cute crop.
Maybe.
Or, like, a cute bob.
Or it does the thing where it's, like, the hair is like this, and it goes, like...
Oh, no, I want her to have a cute bob. I want her to have an image change for this
Where
for
randomly
this
he's like, oh, my hair just got cut off in this accident where I almost died, but now it's perfect.
But now I'm pretty.
It's perfect. It's even and a flattering length and...
She was momentarily frozen in shock at the near-fatal encounter.
Don't freeze.
She was quickly thrown to her feet by the explosion the round had caused behind her. Thrown to her or off her? Oh, whatever.
Off, probably.
Debris and rubble flew in all directions. She quickly jumped back up and resumed blocking laser shots that came her way. The other Force members that were in the city were doing the same, blocking and defending, trying to push their way closer to their enemies. Stacy felt a tremor in the Force and looked up again to see a helicopter drop several black-suited men into the battlefield. Guardians. Their electro-stabs crackled as they made their... Ooh.
They're building a bar. Sorry.
I like that. Sorry. We can cut that. That bar looks nice. Their electro-staffs crackled as they made their way toward the Force members to engage in their combat. I'm going to cut this, but remind me at some point to, like, if you don't want to watch Game of Thrones, to show you some of the battle sequences of Game of Thrones, because they are so beautifully filmed that they are worth watching just on their own. Mm-hmm. Granted, you kind of probably want to know what's going on, so you feel how dramatic they are, but, like, they are really well filmed, and I'm trying to, like, picture this as that, and I'm not cutting it, never mind. And, yeah, that's what I'm doing, by the way. So join me as you try and picture this as, like, a Game of Thrones battle sequence. It just, you know, a little less
You might need to stretch your imagination, but...
Yeah. Stacy was fighting off two Guardians as she was being pushed back further into the city. Explosions ignited all around her as the world's army made use of their tanks and heavy mounted rifles. They were tearing the city apart, not the Force members. Stacy blocked a stomach jab by one of the staff, and one of the Guardians spun around and with a quick and precise slash for a weapon took the man's head off. She continued to spin She continued to spin and cleave the man in two at the stomach with another slash. The second Guardian took a step back in response. That step was all Stacy needed to unleash a wave of Sith lightning that ripped through the man's body for several seconds before his body ceased to move anymore. Stacy realized that if they kept using the city as cover, then their battle here would be pointless. The city would be nothing but rubble due to the World Army's weapons that they were unleashing on them. She decided to be the first of the Force members to charge forward towards the advancing forces. Oh my god, this totally could be a Game of Thrones scene anyways. Oh, I'm just thinking of an episode I watched recently that was really
good.
Slow
motion, you're charging forward with, like, the others. It's fine or something.
Oh, I want to show you the moment that looks so cool. I can't spoil. Not on the show. Sorry. Mm-hmm. As she dashed forward, she deflected laser shots and threw men out of her way with the Force. She forced her way to the enemy's front lines and unleashed a massive Force wave that threw at least 70 soldiers up into the air. She sent a wave of Sith lightning ripping through the air and killed all the soldiers at once. Their bodies fell to the ground, and she dashed forward towards the heavy-mounted rifle guns.
I mean, I know that Stacy and Salvador or whatever are more powerful than other people, but if they're this powerful, how
are they doing so badly?
Also, because the other Jedi and stuff who are trained are also probably obviously not as powerful, but they have enough power to be able to do a fraction of what they're doing.
Right. Also, I'd like to point out that she's not hiding that she's a Sith anymore. I mean, she's using Sith techniques.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing that I hope they
Sith
acknowledge.
lightning.
Yeah, I hope they acknowledge this, and the Jedi are like, what the fuck, Stacy? You lying
Yeah,
bitch.
I thought you were on our side. I guess the Sith might have trained the Jedi to use their same.
Maybe. We'll see. We will see. She leapt into the air and performed a flip that landed her right on the barrel of one of the massive guns. She cut the barrel in half with her lightsaber, then ran down the barrel towards where the cockpit to the gun was. She landed on top of the box of the gun and cut a hole in the roof. There were 3 men inside operating the gun. She made quick work of them. She may have cut the barrel in half, but the computer screen inside the control box said that it was still capable of firing.
So it's just a cut-off shotgun, right?
She stopped the mount from moving and moved the barrel and pointed it at another one of the heavy rifles. With the push of the trigger button, the control box shook as a round blasted its way out of the half barrel and completely destroyed its target. So they know now that you're against them, so they're probably going to shoot at you. Oh, that's why. Okay.
She leaves right away.
Stacy leapt through the hole in the roof she had made and used the force to increase her height just in time to see the heavy mounted rifle box she was just in vanish in an explosion of fire and smoke. She landed on solid ground. She was surrounded by World Army troops who had their weapons aimed at her, ready to fire. She closed her eyes and quickly gathered up the force. She unleashed it in a massive shockwave that threw them backwards and left a tiny crater in the ground. Okay, Goku. She grinned and dashed towards one of the 2 remaining heavy-mounted rifles. She cut down soldiers as she made her way closer to one of the rifles. The rifle she was headed toward suddenly exploded, and a Force Army member leapt through the air and jumped for the last of the mounted weapons. She wasn't the only one with a brain in this battle, it would seem.
New romantic love interest.
She would let that guy get the last of the mounted guns. She would take care of that guy. Who is that? She would take care of the jets swooping in and unleashing massive assaults on them. Cool guy!
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
She waited until one of the jets were heading just towards her, and she leapt through the air forward, using the force to give herself a boost. She grabbed onto the outside of the cockpit window of the jet as she soared over it. Stacy hung onto the cockpit window as the jet started to gain height and rotated rapidly, trying to shake her off. It would not be that easy to shake her. Still holding her ignited lightsaber blade, she reached out with the force and held the jet upright and going straight long enough for her to stand up while also using the force to keep her balance so she didn't fall off.
The force is very useful.
It is, damn. She cut one of the wings off of the jet with her lightsaber and grabbing the large piece of metal with the force, she threw it at the second jet. The wing collided with the jet and sent it to oblivion. She then held onto the jet she was on as it nosedived and spun towards the ground, unable to maintain stability with just one wing. She waiting until it was 20 meters off the ground before jumping off. She watched as the jet smashed into the ground and exploded. Landing on the ground with a massively rough roll, she got to her feet and continued to deflect laser fire. Clearly,
the amount of times they say the jet, or the rifle, or the force.
It's annoying. I'm tuning it out half the time. Like I get what you're talking about.
Anyways, you were saying.
Yeah, I'm just speeding through the last 3. Mm-hmm. Clearly, the world's army had not expected this form of resistance from the Force Army because the ground soldiers,
this is literally how they've been fighting the entire time,
started their retreating while firing at the Force Army to keep them at bay so they could get away. The trick was not going to work with Stacy. She used the force and made a dash towards the surviving soldiers, cutting them down as she dashed through their ranks. It took her about 20 seconds to lay waste to nearly 100 human soldiers. With no other soldiers or weapons around, she shut down her lightsaber. She watched as 4 Force members lifted the 4 tanks into the air and crushed them into massive balls of metal. The battle was theirs.
4 random Force users can crush tanks with the Force.
Yeah, look, man.
The way they just dominated this battle is like, how are they
losing?
They're not even losing.
How is the war? How is this war as close as they're saying when the Force people are clearly superior?
Yeah,
in like every way.
They've got, the world has numbers.
Yeah,
but also the military isn't that large.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. It's just fascinating, I guess. I don't know.
And I know that. And the amount of people that they're kind of implying the Jedi and Sith have on their side is not a small number.
Right. Also, this is the second time jump, by the way. So over the course of this fic, we have covered 12 years.
Yeah.
Of things.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm picturing this as a televised miniseries. That's how I read all of these fics. I'm like, what would this be like if it was a miniseries? And this would be the third season, the 4 years later season, I've decided. So we're on the third arc. Maybe there'll be 4, or maybe this will be the end.
Since we're in chapter 40, whatever.
8, I believe.
Something like that. I don't think we're going to have another...
46.
Hopefully we don't have another time jump in the next 10 chapters.
We'll see. There's 12 chapters
Actually,
left.
the last chapter might be like 12 years later, or 300 years later. Hey!
And it's like, Leia Organa received the Death Star plans.
I was thinking more Han and like...
Han and Chewie,
Chewie
did
on,
something.
like, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who this author likes more.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Discovering ruins or something. No.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Join us next week when we continue this fic. We're getting very close to the end, so that's real exciting. And
what should we read next?
Yeah, if you have a fic suggestion for us, leave it down below in the comments, and we will probably read it next on the show. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and yeah, until next time, bye-bye!
Bye.